I guess it wasn't really an opera, but did went go to the theater more when I was younger. Uh, Not so much anymore. It's not really
when you
entertaining.
when you were a flat earther?
No, it has nothing to do with that.
Are you embarrassed that you thought or considered or had a portion of your life where you entertained such a possibility?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Why would I be?
I don't know, some people, it's a
I
sticking point.
honestly I go with the philosophy that I don't really have any regrets.
Yeah.
Would I change things if I had the ability to go back? Maybe, but most likely not, because what happened made me,
Yeah.
and I'm quite satisfied with me, to be honest, not being hubris or boasting or anything like that, but I'm pretty satisfied.
No, I can hear it in your voice. You're not a downer.
That's the thing. There's like I'm kind of like in philosophy an Epicurean, you know. I'm trying to find peace and tranquility in my life,
Yeah.
uh, and not feeding. Of course, posting memes on the internet is not really feeding the negative. That's just entertainment, you know. But that's where I'm trying to aim for my life, you know, like not so much stress, not all these kind of things, you know. I'm not delving deep emotionally into politics. I do know about politics. I do follow it, but I'm not emotionally attached to any, you know, side or whatever you want to call it. Stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. It's Dallas David. Um,
Oh, he should be
he
embarrassed.
a couple of years ago, he started on his black pill, kind of rants, and I just wasn't doing well at the time, and yeah, I arrived in quite a dark place after
Honestly,
listening.
I think Dallas David is 90% just doing this for entertainment. You know,
Yeah,
he's doing it to get a reaction out of the people who want James, for example, and he does it every single time. Like I don't think I have seen Dallas David go on a rant without Jim Panda going completely to berserk on him, for one.
yeah,
And that is why he is doing it, and he is fucking laughing in the background, and you can hear it every single time.
yeah,
Then he's brilliant. If that is the case, because I agree, like it's either he's brilliant and he's trolling and it's the most brilliant troll ever, or there's something genuine about it.
Yeah, I mean, there might be something where he's like, okay, some of this might be true, but I think the majority of what he is actually doing is just to fucking get a reaction out of the people over there. That's just
Yeah,
my
but
opinion. That's just
that's
my opinion.
no, and no, but that's true. That's true, but he would tell you that. He's not he knows he's entertaining people, but there's some things that he says that you don't know if he really believes it or not. I don't know. That's the thing. I'm up in the air. The little people that
Yeah, I
the
mean,
way
but
he
that's the
delivers it, it's like
geniality of it all, you know,
so
being
funny.
able to act these things out without people actually knowing if it's a joke or not. But there might be he might actually be so he might actually believe in it all. I don't know. But
Right?
what I see it
Like
as
the
is
clones, does he
him
think
just
that people are cloned? If he doesn't think people are cloned and it's an act, bravo. Either way, bravo. Actually, it's hilarious. It
yeah.
cracks me up.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I can't say if he believes it or not. I'm just saying, from my perspective, it feels like he has just been in that form for so long, and he knows exactly what to say to trigger them.
Maybe, but it's just too funny, you know, like it's not just a trigger. I don't think it's out. It doesn't seem like it's in hate or spite. It's more like it's just if he was just trolling, it would have had to been like a really well thought out troll, like a really well done character that actually does think these things because he's so
Yeah,
consistent with it.
yeah, maybe. But he is a trucker, you know. He's just alone on the road.
Yeah, that's why I think it's probably genuine. It's just who he is.
You might be right. You might be right. I'm not gonna say A or B here. I'm just saying he cracks me
But
up.
sometimes I think he exaggerates to get the entertainment that he knows he'll get from it, you know, with
Yeah.
his wording and stuff.
I'm a little bit. It's not ashamed or no, it doesn't matter. I had a private phone call with Dave, and we spoke for about an hour, and just some of the things he was really concerned about the meat and cows, and he gave me this whole rave about meat and cows and how important it is. And that's when I saw that there is more to Dave than just, shits and giggles. And there's like a real mind there and quite a deep person too, like, with real genuine concerns. But yeah, I made a video about him, Dave, once. I'll send it to you because you'd appreciate it. It doesn't go that long.
I cut out my headset cut out for a second. What'd you say? The last thing
I
you made a
I
video?
I made a video of him talking about the clones, the World's Fair in Chicago.
Oh, I
Um,
want to see that.
yeah, he has this idea about zeppelins coming in and gassing like all the American Indians. Like it's the most wild fucking. It's really
What's
wild.
your take, Merle? Do you think that he's genuine? Like he's just a crazy dude?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know he definitely knows how to push,
Entertain.
yeah, entertain and push the
Yeah.
buttons sometimes that need to be pushed.
Right.
But I think there's some moments too where his mind's popped and
Yeah.
he's sitting in his truck and he's just unraveled. But the fact that he's there, because I haven't heard anybody else say some of the things he said. And I even asked him, I said, where do you get some of this stuff? And he's going, I don't know, Merle, it sort of comes out and
I
He's
mean,
probably
most
handled
most
everything else the same way. Like his personality is just that way. Like
yeah.
whatever he's talking about is going to be like his own little fantasy version of whatever it is he's talking about. Sorry, go ahead. Whoever was trying to talk.
no, I was just where he gets his information from. Well, I know people don't like it, but from the Tataria region on the internet, they are talking about all the same things pretty much. All the same thing. Giants, little people,
Yeah,
the world fairs, etc., etc., etc. Doesn't have to be Tataria, but I'm just saying Tataria is encompassing it all.
yeah.
That
There's a couple
region
people
of
probably that he listens to more than anybody that have these ideas, and
yeah,
not
yeah.
a lot of people listen to them. They're a little bit obscure, huh? Or not a lot of flat earthers, at least, right? Oh no, Tartaria guys. Who are the guys you're talking about?
Yeah, the Tataria guys. I mean, the thing about Tataria is that they have just pretty much taken all the conspiracies and entangled them into their own. So that's why I'm saying Tataria, even though many people who believe in some of the aspects in it is not on the Tataria path. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Yeah, and also the name, just calling it Tartaria to begin with is a little bit sus. Like, sucks that there's a lot of people that think that they're talking about Tartaria, or if you're just talking about old world tech or like, alternative history or the buildings and stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be Tartaria.
It
Tartaria
doesn't.
might
It
be like
doesn't.
the psyop name they put on it.
Yeah, that's why I said I hate to use the word totalitarian in the beginning, but
Uh-huh.
it's just
Exactly.
so well encompassing because they're talking about all of that, you know.
Right, exactly. What was the story you were telling before? I was listening on YouTube and I thought you were going to tell a story about what you not being a flat earther, and then you were talking about Dallas Day when I got in, so I must have been back a ways.
He just asked if I was embarrassed for being a flat earther once, and I just said no. I don't really want to go into talking about flat earth again. I'm kind of fed up with the entire thing. Like whenever people start to talk about flat earth here, I jam out. Like it's so boring to me. No offense, but it just is.
What the people is what the reason you stopped being a flat earther because of the people or because of you thought it was something wrong with the
Uh,
you started believing in the globe again. How did you start believing in the globe again? That's what I want to know.
well, I started to examine all these claims one by one, and when I actually dug down into it, like I just, if I had to be honest with myself, the only position I could take was, well, it's probably a globe.
Probably a globe.
I can never be certain, can I?
Well, no, I mean, but the globe is in my mind. This is the way I see it. I see the globe as the belief, and like without that belief, and if you don't truly believe it, then it's not a globe, right? Because you have to truly believe the globe. Like there's so many things that you have to like go out on a limb for to
Well,
believe, to accept that
I
it
guess I
could
can say
possibly
like
be a globe.
I guess I can say it like this. All the evidence is leaning towards that direction.
Dude, planes couldn't even land on a moving surface that they're treating as stationary. That's how bad it is, bro. Come on.
I know the arguments, and that's why I'm not gonna go into it because it's a
I'm not
never-ending
trying to
argument.
argue with you, but if that, I mean, I could argue with you, and there's no answer for that one, as well as many others. You know, it's not a globe, right? I mean, at some point you thought you did. So how did you ever figure out that there's impossibilities to what the globe says? And then, you know, that in my
Well,
mind, that
it's
makes you a flat earther because it's by default, you know, the argument that by
well,
default, it's a stationary earth, just like it seems, until there's reason to believe that you're spinning it upside down. And then once you stop believing that, you're a flat earther. But how do you start believing in that again once you realize how fallacious it is? And when you become a flat earther, in my mind, you realize how completely fallacious and impossible the globe is. You know, it's not
well,
like you
when I
decide to
met
believe in something else.
Flat Earth back in 2014, late 2014, I was already deep into conspiracies. Like since 2004, 9/11, Illuminati, the medical establishment, etc., etc., etc. So I was already in the mindset that everything was fucking fake. So when I met Flat Earth, it was not a hard transition at all. And
But
I think it
you didn't
was more
become a flat
biased
earther
than
because
anything
you
else.
just but you didn't become a flat earther because you just said, "Oh, it must be flat because everything else is fake too." You actually looked into it, right?
I did. But I
And what'd you
think
find
that
out?
most
I
of
mean,
my reasoning was
you
based on bias.
well, okay, then I'm not trying to argue with you. I love you as a person and everything else. I'm not even trying to be that guy. I was just interested because it piqued my curiosity. And you're the only one of anyone that I know that seemed like they were a true flat earther at one point, and then they actually just said they went back to the globe, and I didn't. It just made me suspicious because I've never seen that with someone that fully realized that it's not a globe, and then decided to believe in it again.
Yeah, I understand that. Like, but it's not so easy because, as I said, like I was already deeply conspiratorial minded when I met Flat Earth. So I was already in. Let's say that Flat Earth is left and Globe Earth is right. So I was already like everything is fucking fake. So it was easy for me to being pushed towards the left. And then I went out based on, for example, the arguments that I heard, and I started to. I live in Denmark. There's a lot of water, and I was like, fucking hell, I can see too far. But that was without the pre-knowledge of all the other conditions and factors that should be played in. That's why I was a flat earth for so long, because I actually thought I had written out and tested it for myself. So yeah, but there was a time back in like I think it was like 2022 or something like that where I was deeply proven wrong on something else, and I was like, if I was wrong on that, and that was nothing about flat Earth. If I was wrong about that, what else is I wrong about that I had believed in it so long? And I started to checkpoint everything within the flat Earth, like for example, the 3 points from 24/7 as a good starter, and I started to dissect these things one by one, case by case. And when I was done with that, without going into details, the only honest position I could have was that it was a globe because the evidence was leaning in that direction big time. But that's
What evidence? What evidence? I've never seen globe evidence. Just assumptions and interpretations of things that work just as well or better on a flat Earth.
well, that's not true. But
Yeah. What's one thing that's exclusive to the globe?
well, I'm never. I mean, that's just ill-formed because nothing is exclusive. But I mean,
Two celestial
it,
poles. Two
for
celestial
example,
poles is
yeah. I mean,
exclusive
everything
to
that
the globe.
happens in the south, for one.
Okay. Not exclusive, it's just an interpretation or an assumption still, though.
Yeah, but based on our idea of flat Earth with the center point in the north and stuff like that, there is a lot of impossibilities happening in the sun, in the south, and those things are explained for in a quote unquote symmetrical globe, but they're not explained for in any flat Earth interpretation. For
Not
example,
yet. Maybe not yet, or maybe
I really don't want
maybe
to
there
discuss
was
it
an
because
interpret. Yeah, I'm just saying that maybe whatever it is that you're looking for from flat Earth, it doesn't exist because it hasn't been around or popular, or maybe it's actually been hidden, and that's the reason it's not readily accessible for everybody. That's all. And it doesn't matter anyway. You don't need to replace just because you stop believing in the ball. Doesn't mean you have to believe in a new model for it to be flat. It's like if you were a flat earther, that means you fully realized it can't be a ball in my mind. So maybe that you never got to that
When
point.
you're traveling from the south to the north, you kind of need to know where you're going because we live on an island in Australia,
Yes.
and you don't want to miss it. It's an
Yeah,
island in the
and the
middle of the
ball, the
ocean.
map, all the globe stuff is great for reifying the globe as well as getting you where you want to go. Doesn't mean it's real.
Well, how can it? I mean, a treasure map, if it doesn't lead you to the treasure, then the map's probably wrong.
No, well that would be,
Do you
yeah, if
think?
you're dealing with honest people, but if you're dealing with people that wanted you to believe it's a ball, there's ways to do that, including with the latitude, longitude. The graticule was completely reverse engineered and made to seem like a ball. It seems to be
Mm,
the case, at least as far as I
you're
can tell. You may
making
not
all
think
that
that.
up.
You may not think that, but that's what I think because I, looked into it. It's not because I want to believe in flat Earth. It's because I could never get myself to believe it's a ball again. And you two, both of you, are people that I actually, had some, I like you. Not that I don't like you now, but I mean, I like both of you guys. And so I was surprised that both of you decided to fully believe in something that at one point you were completely aware of it being fallacious.
Uh, Understanding, though, is not a belief.
No, but you could call understanding like, oh, I understand. I need to say I agree with you, even though I can't prove it. That could be an understanding, but that's not like really knowing.
Well, for me, the problems with flat Earth still exist that I had.
Well,
And
yeah, I
now
mean,
there's
there's things that need to be worked out as far as a model goes. There's no denying that, but that doesn't mean like just go
changed
believe in
my
the
whole
ball until
world.
flat Earth has all the answers. Why do you want to believe
I
in
got
something? I
flat
don't
Earth
believe in
on
anything.
top of being flat Earth in the south. The sun doesn't go the right direction. Like my whole world now is
Maybe it
just
doesn't seem
fake.
to. It might not seem to, but then you're gonna have to go back to like, oh, I'm upside down again, and that's fine as long as flat Earth doesn't have any answers. Like, I don't get how you could go to like knowing and talking with
I'm not
us for
upside down.
hours
You
and
are.
realizing how and making fun of the ball, making fun of yourself being upside down with your icon, all these things that were laughable, and now you're like, oh, those laughable things are okay again because flat Earth doesn't have answers. That's ridiculous.
That's not
But it
ridiculous.
matches
The
the
things, the
globe.
things that you
In
observe, the
my opinion, it's
basic
ridiculous. It doesn't
observations
make
that
it
you
ridiculous
observe
objectively.
that work,
For
it
some reason, I
works.
can't hear you. Oh, left lane. I might have you turned down or something. I don't know. A little bit,
Can
yeah.
you guys work out, take turns, new perspective,
I
let
couldn't
them
hear left
respond?
lane. Sorry, go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead, Left Lane. I couldn't hear you.
No, it's just saying these observations, so many observations that are perfectly explained, by one concise statement, and they are all concise. They all work together, neither contradict one another. It's just, I don't know. It's
Well,
called
yeah, of
it
course
can't
it
be
works.
anything else.
Okay, well then I'm not trying to argue with you at all in saying
So,
this, but if it was reverse engineered, then it would have to be perfect, right? Because they reverse engineered it so that it would be perfect in the way your observation is, giving you the interpretation for your observation, and all of the things with the maps lining up is perfect. I think it's a masterpiece. In fact, some days I don't think the globe should go
Well,
anywhere. In fact, I don't think the globe should.
I mean,
I think you guys believing in the globe, ironically, is probably the best thing we have going for us. Because if the people that told us it was a globe start telling us it's flat, then we're in trouble. So ironically,
so
I
if
don't
the
want it
globe,
to go there. I think it's good you guys believe in it. I just don't know how you can after realizing how fallacious it was. That's all I'm saying.
if the globe is reverse engineered from flat Earth, why is it so hard to find flat Earth when you reverse engineer the globe? When you do
Well, if you
that,
have
it
the
doesn't
power to
match what
reverse
everybody
engineer
else
what the world
experiences.
thinks about, like if you have the power to influence the
You know what
whole
it thinks,
world,
just the
you
map.
have the power to do a lot more than that. You can actually, like, hide things and make sure people aren't, like, going to discover certain things or go to Antarctica, freely travel wherever you want. The people in power can do all kinds of things. Don't assume it would be right in front of your face if they're trying to hide it.
My country is like 3 times this. Where I live is 3 times bigger than I know it to be. Like, you don't think we'd notice?
There's lots of stuff about the regular maps that have the wrong sizes. We've all talked about that. It doesn't have anything to do with flat or globe.
Yeah, because putting a globe onto a flat piece of paper is going to distort it. A flat map, flat Earth shouldn't be
No,
distorted. It should be
but
easy.
you see how that could be a straw man, right? If it's not the flat Earth model you're given to critique, then it must not be a flat Earth.
Well, yeah. Well, Polaris
No,
isn't in the, like,
because
the
there could
North
be
Pole's
answers we don't have yet.
north, so the South Pole could be in the middle. You guys are all happy with that?
Sure, I'm fine with that. If that's the truth, it's not about preference when we're talking about the truth. It's not about, oh, the South has to be the center because I like it that way. You would never do
Well,
that.
what
You'd
else?
want to know what the truth is, right? Not
What
just
else
believe
works?
something because it's a model or because it's preferable regionally.
What else works?
Well, as far as models go, I'm not saying there is something else that I think as far as models go, use the globe. Just realize it's a model. It's not where you live.
Well, then I want to know where I live on a flat Earth, because where I am is really distorted.
Well, then you could contribute to that
I
instead of
don't
just
trust my
sitting in the
pilots.
corner and criticizing the people who haven't come up with your perfect flat Earth model yet. You could
Because it
actually
doesn't
help try to
work.
figure it out. Because at one
We
point
have
you
done it. We had that
realized
with
the
Pac-Man.
reason you don't feel like you're upside down is because you're not upside down. That's
I'm
what you
not. You
realized.
are.
And now you're okay with that again? That makes no
I'm not
sense.
upside down. You are. That's where you've
Sure,
got it
that's
all wrong. You're
fine.
not on. I'm
That's
not on the
fine.
bottom.
If you want
You
to
are.
have your, if you want to be,
So yeah, I'm
if you want
fine
to
with it
have me
now.
upside down, that's just as
Yeah,
bad because that's ridiculous
fine.
too.
It's
They're
no
both
worse than
equally really
claiming
ridiculous. If
it
I'm
is.
upside down polar, if I'm your anti-polar upside down friend, that's just as
Code.
ridiculous as you being the upside down anti-polar friend, and we would be if we were on a stupid globe, but we're not, and you realize that. You can't unrealize something, is what I'm saying. So I don't think either of
You
you really
can,
fully
and when you
realized it.
work out
That's
it's
what I'm saying.
wrong and that it doesn't work, especially for where I live. It's just not going to work.
Okay, so the globe totally works now because flat Earth doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, if that's how you want to look at the world, I need a model. Otherwise, one thing is totally wrong and the other thing's totally right. Even though at one point I fully realized how stupid the first thing was, I'm going to go with stupid now because the second thing wasn't as smart seeming.
Because I didn't understand it and I got told it all wrong. The way that
Oh, okay.
Flat Earthers explain the globe model isn't right. I mean, the horizon doesn't always rise to eye level.
That's another straw man. No flat earther says
Australia
that. It's an
proves
Eric
that it's
Dubay straw
globe.
man. I don't think
Australia, if
I don't
the
think it
north is
goes
what
all
you
the way
say
up
the
to the
north
eye
is,
level.
if
But
the
see,
north
it's
is
like
what
you're
you say the north
critiquing what
is,
people say
and the
about flat
south is
earth.
what it is, It has to
What?
be a globe. There's no other option. What other shape are you going to put in there? It's not a square. It's not a cube.
What do you mean? Oh, I have to be upside down without any kind of sense to that. I have to be spinning without any kind of sense of that. It has to be curvature, even though it's obviously just an interpretation of perception and could work either way. It has to be one model
Either
or
way,
another, and
there'd
I
be
have to
no
believe
horizon.
I
The
live
horizon
there.
would be blurry. It wouldn't be a straight cutoff line.
That's
I
another
mean,
thing
why
that
would
you've been
railway
told that you
lines
believe
disappear in
now
the
that
distance?
you would have
But there's
laughed at
nothing else.
before.
The sun doesn't. The moon
You're
doesn't.
saying there's no horizon on a flat Earth? I mean, you know better than that.
No, there wouldn't be. It'd be a
Hours and
blurry,
hours we talked.
hazy
We talked for
hazy
hours, Trouble. Are you saying during those hours we talked, there was never a time that you felt like you fully realized the globe is impossible? I thought you
Because
were there.
nobody ever
Maybe not.
suggested that to me. I didn't think about it. How they wouldn't. I mean, sunset was always a problem. Now you're calling Rayleigh's criteria an angle of shit that doesn't make
No,
sense.
no. Don't put me in the group with anybody else you're referring to. You're hanging out with
Well, that's
ballers
the answers
that
that I've
only
been given.
strawman the flat Earth and talk about people that don't know what they're talking about.
Well, fine. There would be no horizon. It would be just a blurry, fuzzy, hazy.
That's not true. If you think that, then maybe you
Would.
never fully realized what it would be if it was flat. As
There'd
far
be
as those
no
kind of
horizon.
observations go. There would be, it's just the point where the sky seems to meet the ground. It would work the
And that
same
would
on both.
happen on a flat Earth. They would
That's
never.
what
They would
you've
You
just
can
been
go into
zoom in,
convinced
forever and
of.
Trouble.
far away to
You can zoom in.
resolve the whole thing.
Just zoom in. Your eyes
When
are
you
only
zoom
capable
in,
of so
it would just be further. There'd be more land you'd see and more sky. And again, it would just be unresolvable. There'd be a
Another
limit.
assumption, another straw man.
You'd zoom in.
You don't know, if you don't think it's flat, then you would have no idea how it would look on a flat Earth. But if it is flat, then it looks exactly like it does because it's flat.
It's like concave. There's no reason for them to have a horizon. There's no reason for you guys to have a horizon. I mean, there's no reason for the compass to point north.
if you compare yourself
I
to
mean,
concave, you're doing yourself a disservice. Concave is all the stuff the globe makes you believe in, right? If you want to talk about how stupid concave is, they believe people
Well,
are upside
because it's
down
toward
compared to the
south.
people on the other side of the ball, just like you do.
Well,
That's
it
the
doesn't
stupidest
distort
thing
the
about
south.
concave. You still got upside down people. That's why
They don't
concave's
pretend that the
stupid.
south is 3 times bigger than it really is and make up all this shit about we've got this bendy
That's just
eyesight.
a straw man about the model
The
again. It has
stars,
nothing to do
we've
with
got
reality.
a southern celestial pole that you're going to tell me is not real, but it is.
Okay, model versus
You
model,
can't tell me
right?
how it happens, but on a globe it makes perfect sense.
Hey, Trouble, I think, no, I'm just saying this. I'm suggesting this. I don't care what, if you want to believe one thing or another, that's fine. I was just very surprised. But if I were you, I would have said, as far as models go, the globe has a lot more going for it, but it doesn't mean I think I'm upside down all of a sudden and start having to like
In their
adopt
model,
these
I'm
things
not
that you
upside
used to
down. See,
laugh at.
that's where you straw man them incorrectly. I'm not upside down on the globe model. No one is.
Relative to me, you would be.
It'd be antipodal.
Yeah,
There is no up and
that's
down
what
on the
you used
globe
to laugh
in that
at.
sense.
Yeah, but okay, so you thought
So
when you
no
were
one's
making fun
upside
of it as a
down.
flat
You can't go
earther,
to space and
that
tell me
you
which way
thought
is
that
up
you were
or
upside down. You thought you were actually upside down as a flat
because
earther
that's
when you were
what,
making fun of it.
yeah, because that's what you all say, but that's not the globe model that you're upside down. That's just common
Yeah,
shit that people
everybody's
say
right
up the
side up
street.
and upside down at the same time
If you want to look at
compared
it
to
that
each
way, yeah.
other.
Well, that's what happens on a ball. What else is going to
Okay, so
happen on a
most flat earthers believe they realize that. It's not like flat earthers actually think people are upside down, but they're saying in relation to the people on the top of the ball they would be. That's all any flat earther
yes?
that knows what they're talking about. So maybe you didn't
Globe doesn't have a
realize
problem with
you
that.
thought you
It's
were
not a
actually
problem.
upside down when you were a flat earther.
You're making it a
Now,
problem, and it's not a problem.
no, when you were a flat earther, you thought that you were like somehow really upside down.
Yeah, because I
Like you
didn't
didn't understand
understand.
it.
I didn't
Well,
understand
you
the
didn't
globe model
realize
at
that
all.
flat earth is like where you're all just a right side up compared to each other, right? But you now believe that you're upside down compared to me right now. And that makes perfect sense because there's no flat earth model.
Because yes, well, because the flat Earth model doesn't work
Well, that's
where I
fine though.
live.
You can criticize the model all you want, but that
There
doesn't
isn't
mean
one
I'm a
that
glober
works.
that believes I'm upside down again right now. You don't have to go there. That's ridiculous.
Where else am I going to go? No man's land, like VR
You don't
world. I
have to
spent
go
a
to
while in there.
yeah,
No
you
one
can
else
say, I
turned
don't
up.
know.
Too
You
lonely
can
in
say,
that.
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
what the Earth
I've
is.
got my doubts. I think maybe my efforts, instead of criticizing the flat earthers that are trying to do something, should be put into trying to do something to figure out a good flat earth model instead of sitting back and criticizing and acting like you believe you're upside down, and that's not stupid.
We did, don't you remember? Maybe you weren't there, but we had the two celestial poles. E1 and I were trying to work out what it was. Nothing works. Now you've got a Pac-Man sky with all the planets just disappear off one side and
You talk to
reappear on the other.
E1, I think you're mad at E1, and that's why you don't want to be flattered. Because he was just such a dick and just like left, and that's the reason. He explained everything very well. He explained it all. You should write down what you actually
I told him
think.
that the stars,
And we
the
talked for
planets, they don't
hours. He explained
off one
he
side of
wasn't
the earth and
Pac-Man
reappear on
modeling
the
it.
other.
He never said
Pac-Man
Pac-Man
makes no
model. Now you're
sense.
strawmanning E1.
No one in Flat Earth thinks Pac-Man works. He believed there was two celestial poles. You guys
and
don't.
E1 doesn't
Houses
think
fake.
Pac-Man works either.
And then only the northern one exists.
Wait, okay, you don't think E1 is into Pac-Man Earth, right?
That's what he ended up with.
No,
he had
never
two
said
celestial poles and thought that somewhere off Australia, somewhere where no one was, that's where all this weird stuff was happening. That's what you left with when you have two celestial poles on a flat piece of paper.
No, he said, as far as Pac-Man goes, the only 3 stars that he couldn't track going the opposite direction from one another, when they go in their own direction with the 2 rotations, the only ones that he couldn't see going one way or the other were the 3 stars of Orion in the middle, and they seem to just appear again on the other side like a Pac-Man, even though that doesn't really make any sense. But that could make sense.
Well, your other choice is that you have the 2 spirals next to each other, side by side, and they only touch on one point, and you've got this empty amount of space where there's no stars.
Right,
that's what he thought.
That's an assumption about what
there's no empty patch of sky like that. No one's ever seen that.
Regardless, I'm saying, if you think that the things should be a certain way, right? How do you know they should be one way or another? It's based on an assumption.
Geometry. This stuff is just geometry.
No, I'm talking about like the empty space where there are no stars.
Because when you put 2 star spirals next to each other, 2 round pizzas, they only touch on one point. Because we never see the celestial equator overlapping. So it's got to separate.
Did
you remember the separation and convergence zone? Everyone thought there was a separation and convergence zone where the stars separated and came back together. Where does that happen?
I don't know, but I'd heard stellarium shows that, as well as, you can see observations of that. But that's actually what E1 was talking about.
Around Polaris, and that won't match what I see in the sky.
E1 was saying we couldn't see that where we are now. He was saying he wanted to go past Easter Island, like 100 miles past Easter Island, so he could prove that the stars separate. So the fact that we don't see that anywhere in our sky, he agreed to that too.
So you realize that the planets all travel along the celestial equator, this separation zone. The sun and the moon travel along this area. So now you've got them doing a figure 8 over a flat Earth, where they only meet at one point. In a circle, you can only have one tiny patch touching. The celestial equator matches all the way around. It doesn't separate or come back together. What other shape can it be on? It doesn't make any sense.
That's just another model argument, though. I mean, if you think the model is where you live, that's a totally different thing than saying this model is more explanatory. And then you have to consider maybe this model is more explanatory because the people that want you to think you're on a globe made the model explanatory.
Nobody
did that.
I did 80 star trials.
You knew this.
I did 80 star trials from Australia.
At one point, and now you're acting like you're stupid and don't realize you can't unrealize something, Trouble.
Because, let me talk, because I did 80 star trails from Australia. I know what the sky's doing. You can't have a sphere above a flat plane. It makes no sense.
Well,
it doesn't work geometrically.
I think it makes no sense in what your assumptions are.
Now the whole sky has to be magical, or is it just my half of the sky? Your sky's normal, but my half is magical. That's convenient, isn't it?
Well, but that's the other thing. When you make it a personal thing, it makes it sound like you're a glober now because of the personal take you have on the southern stars being ignored. And it's like you're a glober now out of spite rather than actually out of an intellectual decision. And it may be an intellectual decision because of your own work.
That's what you would like it to be, but it's not.
I'm just saying, leave out the part. If it's actually not the reason, Leave out the part about my stars, because people are going to think the
Well,
only
these
reason you
stars,
think
the
this is
southern
because of your
stars.
stars versus our stars.
Oh, fine. The
Then it
southern
makes you
stars
seem
versus
like
the
you've
northern stars.
irrationally chosen it rather than having some real reason other than it seems like you're saying there's no flat earth map, so it must be a
Because I just
globe.
went with Occam's razor, and that's the easiest explanation for the sky, apart from
You
having
can
magic.
never bring up
Right.
Occam's razor to a flat earther in an argument.
I
Occam's
know I
razor,
love
we're
throwing
not
it back at
spinning.
you.
That's bad. That's the
Occam's razor
worst.
on the
Can't
stars.
get trouble. Come on. Trouble. We're not spinning just like it seems. There's no curvature. It looks like a planar. As far as we can tell, we can see
Put
forever. We
Australia
don't
on your
see
flat Earth,
curvature.
and I'll
We don't
come back.
feel spinning. So if you want to talk Occam's razor, you're always going to lose that. But you knew this at one point. Now you're acting
Stars,
like you don't.
on the stars, you're going to lose Occam razors hand down, hands down.
Well, of
Your
course,
explanation
because
is
it's
going to
been
be so
reverse
fanciful, it's
engineered.
not funny.
Yeah, okay. So you're totally discounting the idea that it could have been reverse engineered, and that's why the model is perfect, because there can't be any mistakes when you reverse engineer something.
You know what?
How can you say we can see forever when the sun sets every day?
I see now this guy coming in and trying to straw man me. I'm not saying we can actually see forever. It was an expression. Oh, now we're going to say Dave said he could see forever. Like I would actually think that. See with these guys, how do you
Dave,
hang
why
out
would
with
you
these
say
guys
that?
that have tactics? They always have they don't want to have a conversation. They're using tactics to try to
No, it was a
seem like
legit
they have a
question.
point rather than actually having a
Not a
point.
tactic, not a tactic, just a question.
You think I actually said I can see forever, and that's what I was stating as a fact
Dave, why would you say
rather
that?
than an expression? Come on. Well,
Well,
now you're coming
it
out.
is the
Who said
common
that?
thing that we see. It is
Dave.
the common thing that that Flat Earth says we see too far. But
That's
you know,
different than saying I can see
we talk
forever.
about
Come on.
perspective and all this other stuff, but that shit just it just doesn't work for the sunset. And there are many things that are in question about the flat Earth model that just don't work.
Well, there could be if it's flat, right? Left you agree with this? If it is flat, then there has to be some explanation for the things we don't have explanations for right now, right?
Yes.
And the people that want us to believe it's a ball, if that is true, might have some power in making sure that those things aren't apparent or they are filled with like overwhelming assumptions that it's a globe. If it is actually flat, and there's people in power that don't want us to know that. These things are possible. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here talking to us for 5 years.
Well, I don't want you to though, Dave. This is just
New
what I
Dave?
think. This is what I think and why I think it. But you're free to think about it. I mean, to believe whatever you want to for sure.
What are you responding to? What did you think I just said? You don't want me to what?
It's not. I don't want you to believe in the globe. I don't think the government wants me to believe in the globe. I just understand it that way. What I see, everything that I see, indicates a rotating planet.
I understand that.
That's just the
But
way I see it. And but
what
you're
I
free to
asked,
believe whatever you want
right?
to.
I
We
understand
talk
that.
about it, and I
I
try
think you
to,
misunderstood what I was saying.
But I'm just saying.
Left lane real quick. I was making a hypothetical, and I was saying if it is flat, and if the people that want us to think it's not flat and it's a globe to limit our intelligence and the amount of land we think it is or whatever reasons, if that were the case, then all of the maps and all of the things that reify the globe, they could have power to make sure that that's the first thing people are given when they're young. And you can see how, if it is flat, all those things would make all the other things would make sense. Like you not being able to find a perfect flat Earth map.
I don't think that it's something that could be hidden.
Well, maybe, but I'm just saying hypothetically, you can agree that if it is flat, then all the other things have to be true as well. Like they were actually, creating the perfect map by reverse engineering them and all that. You have to agree. If it is flat, then you can see how the powers that be would do a lot more than just, you know, uh, say it's a globe. They would have to like make sure there's models and double checking systems to make sure they seem perfect, even though they are perfect because it's just reverse engineered. So it's a hypothetical. That's all. You can see that if it was flat, then the sky would have to work. somehow, even if we don't have all the explanations yet. But like I said, I'm rooting for you guys, because if they start telling us it's flat, then I think we're in big trouble. So whether you actually believe in it or not, Trouble, again, or Tim, you guys actually started believing in it again. That's amazing. I was just curious, because I can't imagine that ever being the case for
Well, the
myself.
24-hour sun. Seriously, you're going to say that it's a reflection? We know there's a
I'm
24-hour
not
sun.
going to
We've
talk
always
about
known
like
there's a
flat Earth
24-hour
versus globe.
sun.
I mean, if you want to talk about model versus model, I could sit down and we could talk
Well, there
about
is no
details. But
model.
if it's not
A
about,
magic sun now.
do you think you live in a spinning ball just because the model's better?
So you're going to go with a magic sun and fake southern stars.
What do you mean magic sun? You're just
Think that's
strawmanning me.
better?
If you want to strawman the flat Earth model and say, "Oh well,
Well,
your strawman flat Earth model isn't true, so I must be spinning without any sense of it, just like I used to
hey,
laugh at."
you guys believe it's not. You know it's not concave. You reject that. Most people reject the south being in the center. You know that it's not there because you got a 24-hour sun in the north. So now you've got to explain a 24-hour sun in the south on a flat
Oh
Earth of
no,
some kind.
that's,
Like, it's getting
yeah.
so
Those all those
magical. It's not
challenges are
funny.
great. If those, like, all the challenges are fine. I'm not going to claim I know anything, right? Except that I don't believe that I'm spinning any longer, because I know that that's ridiculous.
Well, I think the things that the flat Earth invoke, especially in the south, are like 10 topics of ridiculous. I think there's more ridiculous on the flat Earth in the south than.
Well, it's a good thing. I'm telling you, Trouble. It's a good thing because, like I said, if they start telling us it's flat, then there's probably some other big psyop to go with it. Some other kind of like pseudoscience they'll attach to the truth. You
You
know?
know, they're never going to say it's flat because it's not.
Well, maybe, maybe they will, and then you'll be like, "Oh
Maybe they
shit, it
won't.
was a psyop the whole time. They're just trying to
No,
convince us it's flat."
no, no, because it's not. It doesn't make sense.
Well, not to you.
Not to anyone. You don't have a model
Well,
because it
no,
doesn't make
that's an
sense.
assumption.
You
Maybe there's somebody that
found one that
actually
makes
has it
sense.
all down. But I don't think you're going to find them hanging out with the ballers who just strawman the flat Earth. How are you entertained by those guys? Weren't we like pretty entertaining? Our group got all broken up.
But I can't listen to
That's
the
probably the
bullshit,
reason.
especially about the South. The stuff you say about the South, it's not true.
Oh no,
But
you
I don't know
always
how to
like to
prove it
group.
to
You
you
have to listen,
because you
Trouble.
don't believe anyone that lives
You
here.
have to stop grouping all flat earthers into one thing. That seems like a tactic too. Like you're just trying to win the argument rather than find the truth. You know, not all flat earthers think the same thing. You hung out with E1, who left the whole flat earth scene because he thought that flat earth was a psyop, and had his own model and had his own answers and never said any of the things that you're trying to straw man him about now.
It's exactly what we talked about. He accepted there was
He
a
never
southern
said there was a
star
Pac-Man
rotation.
sun.
So now you've got to put it. Well, there's only two. Well, either that or it does a figure eight,
Well, that's now you're straw
and
manning
the
what you
sky has to
assumed he
split
was.
open.
He was never saying any of that though.
He was. He
He
was
knew the
gap in
stars in
between.
his head.
Remember, and
He
this
could
is a
tell you the
massive
stars.
gap.
He could tell this. He could tell you which stars are over your head if you just gave him the time and location where you were. He knew the stars
Yeah, it
better than
doesn't
anyone I've
work.
ever met.
It doesn't work on two discs, side by
Well,
side.
that's your opinion. Maybe
You
it
need them to
does.
bend in a little bit.
Well, that's your assessment, right? But assessing that
No, that's what
and
geometry
saying that
says.
you
I
know
didn't
that for
make up
sure it doesn't
geometry.
work. Why did you never
It's just
bring up any of
geometry.
your objections to E1 ever?
I did.
Really? I was never there for that.
Well, maybe not.
Anyway, regardless of the model, I'm just saying the model, you can also get the hypothetical, right? Like if it is flat, then they could make it hard for you to have a perfect flat Earth model, right?
No, I think if it was flat, it would be easy.
Really? You just have to be able to like know where all the continents are without traveling everywhere and making sure that
We
like
do travel
there's
everywhere.
areas
It's
you can always go to anywhere you
2024.
want, unrestricted.
It's
You wouldn't do that on
2024, and
your
we can go.
own.
You can come to Australia and see that Australia is not bigger. The South is not bigger.
how are you supposed to see Australia?
That model is gone. That model doesn't work, and I don't know what else there is
Well,
if you don't have Polaris in the
why are
middle.
you making it model versus model to like base
Because I
your
want to know
whole
where I live.
worldview on? Yeah, well,
The point of
you
flat Earth
don't.
was
You
to
want to
find
know
out where
about the
I live.
model. You want to make it a model versus model thing and then to choose one or the other, then you're not actually dealing with reality. You realized at one point, I'm stationary, just like it seems, right? It's just like it seems. And you never had that satisfaction, I guess, of realizing the reason you don't feel like you're spinning is because you're freaking not spinning. You never had that realization. Or
You know
did
that
you?
you can either see either the sky's spinning or we're moving. Something's moving. We can at least say that.
Of course. But it's like, then I'm going to go believe that I'm moving again after I realized
So
that
I've
was
got to
stupid to
put.
think
You
I
want me
was.
to put a spherical sky over a flat Earth
I don't want you to
somehow?
do
I
anything.
can't do it. No one can do it
I don't want you
without
to do
making
anything other than just be honest.
something weird happening. Something really magical.
Well, I'm my mind is blown more now than when we talked back in the day about all the possibilities. And it's not
Well, because
concave
I've
or
been in it
rising
for a
upward,
long
that's for sure.
time. You guys
Like
wouldn't
the
listen to
moon
me
map
about
stuff, that
stars.
amazes me.
Stars don't
Listen, if
prove anything. The stars absolutely prove we're on a globe.
no, because
Yes, yes, and you
there's
guys don't
nothing
want to hear it.
self-evident about it. No, there's nothing self-evident
Don't look up.
about being on
You
a
can't
globe.
look up to prove the shape underneath your feet. That's what you guys said to me for fucking years.
Don't start saying you guys again like I'm everybody
Well,
else
that's
at
what
flat
was
Earth.
said to me.
Yeah, but I think it's out of spite. You seem spiteful about it more so than you actually believe you're on a globe again.
Because the stars do mean something.
Yeah, I agree
Australia
with you.
means something. You can't just
Listen,
change the shape of my
well,
country
that's
and
the
pretend it
thing.
doesn't mean anything. That it's no
You and
big
E
deal and that
you and
it's
E1,
true.
I used to talk about flat earthers that were, talking about reflecting stars and making fun of them because we
Yeah, which
didn't want
doesn't
to be
make
a
sense because Orion's belt's in the south. So where's the reflection? What's that reflecting from?
I don't
There is no
know.
reflection. You well, none of this
I don't
works.
know. I admire
Doesn't
I think
work.
it's good that you're trying to put it together.
I
Honestly.
have put it
I just
together
can't
so
believe
many
that you're
different ways,
saying
and it
because
doesn't
I
match
can't put
what
it
we
together on a
see.
flat earth, I must be spinning again. Like maybe
It
you
doesn't
can't put
match
it
what we
together for a
see.
flat earth, but that
Because
doesn't mean
once you learn the
all of
real
your
version of
reality
it, it
is
makes
now a
sense.
ball again. That's ridiculous. Oh, I'm
Because once you get
spinning in
the real,
thousands of miles in different directions again because there's no model for flat earth. You know that sounds crazy. And I'm making it
does when
sound
you put
crazy,
it
but
that
that's
way.
basically what you're saying.
Does when you put it that way. Yes.
Yeah.
But that's not how they put it. They explain it to you properly, and then it doesn't sound so nutty.
No, I was talking about you saying, well, there's no flat earth model, so I must just go ahead and I have to be spinning without feeling it. There has to be curvature, even though I can't see it. All these other things have to be okay because of the stars not working right. That seems a little bit of a jump.
And other things. You know, I'm below the Tropic of Capricorn, yet the sun moves southwest, when it should be setting northwest. It's going towards Antarctica, a place you say that it doesn't go to. And it's going to go there, and there's going to be a 24-hour sun there. And that's just like the
That-
north, meaning that the
That's
south
fine.
is approximately the same size as the north. And if you have a problem with that, I don't care. That's
Well, see,
reality.
but that's the whole weird thing about this final observation, right? It's not going to necessarily mean one thing or another. For the model, it does. It's a
It's another
model
nail in
versus
the
model
coffin for
thing,
that
right?
model.
But
There is
I
no
already
other model.
realized. Listen. I mean, for me at least, I realized I'm not spinning, and you can call it a belief, but it's the base axioms, right? The belief is that there has to be good enough proof I am spinning, and that doesn't exist because there's no movement.
So there's not meant to be movement that you feel. They've explained why that isn't. So
Oh, you totally accept their
it makes no
explanation for
sense
that
why
now?
you expect to be feeling the
Okay,
movement.
so it totally makes sense that you're spinning again. Just tell me that.
Yes.
Oh, really? Just because of the model, or because it all really does
Yeah.
make sense to you again? That you could be
Yes.
spinning and it could be so
Obviously, I
spread
don't know
out and it could just
everything.
be so slow compared to fast. What?
Obviously, I don't know everything.
Well, no, but you're like flat Earth doesn't know everything, so they must be
But
wrong.
well, flat Earth doesn't work in Australia.
Not according to your assumptions.
Well, the only other way it's going to work is if the South Pole's in the middle, and that's not acceptable to anyone. I've asked so many people. No, not one person will
For
say
what?
yes. that the South might be in the center of a flat Earth? Because it doesn't make sense
That
if it's
could
not a
be.
circle.
I don't. But the thing is why? How are we supposed to know for sure about any of this?
So
If we're
you'd be
believing
okay
what
with
we're
the North
told,
being
and
distorted
if we're
that
going by
much,
flat
and the
earthers who haven't
country,
had enough time to work on it, how are we supposed to
have you,
know for sure what it is?
because you know the size of your country, you've driven across it.
Yeah, but there's nothing about the globe that's self-evident, Trouble. Nothing. Except for the interpretations of the sky that you think are self-evident to you because you're in Australia.
Well, a lunar eclipse makes no sense on a flat Earth. It's a
That's another
it's
model
clearly
thing, though,
the
right?
only
You
thing that
think it
can be
doesn't.
there. And you're gonna tell me now the moon's magical, self-glowing. You know, like it's all just. Whereas their explanations make sense. It's just the sun
Well, of
shining
course
on
they
it and the
do.
Earth's shadow
They
on it.
don't, though. A lot of them don't. You have to admit, a lot of them don't. When you look at it, it's
Well,
just
a lot of them are
kinematics
overnight,
and
yeah,
not dynamics.
and they get very detailed.
Why does it need to be self-evident instead of externally evident?
You would think there'd be one self-evident thing about your reality that is like cosmologically correct, right? Like you don't feel like you're spinning, you don't see the curve, you don't see curvature. I mean, everyone that's intellectually honest on the ball side will say, "Oh, well, yeah, I agree. If I didn't ever hear anything about the
No,
ball model,
I
I would
disagree.
assume
I
I'm
do
on
think.
stationary Earth." You would never like
I,
wake up as a man that never heard about
are you going to
the
pause, or are
ball
you
Earth,
just going to
right?
keep talking?
No, you have to hear my full thing. If you ask me a question, I'm gonna explain myself. If you were
Well,
born
you
here
already
and you never
explained it.
heard
Now
anything
you're
about the
repeating
globe
yourself.
model, let me just ask the question, okay? If you were born here, just answer honestly. If you were born here and you never heard anything about the ball model, you would never think that you're on a spinning ball. You had to learn that that was what you were supposed to think, right?
Yes. And when I learned about
Okay.
it, now I can see it because I go looking for it.
Okay, yeah, because you're going to you're looking for the reification. That makes sense.
No, I'm going to test it, and I test that it's curved, and I see that it's curved and not flat.
Well, that's an assumption.
No, it's
Optical.
not.
Well, it's an optical observation.
Okay, so it is self-evident that it's curved, but I can also measure it that it's curved. So looks
No,
like
you
you
would
lose.
never think it's curved like a ball before you heard the theory that it's a ball, though.
Doesn't matter. You say you can't see the curve. We can. We can measure the curve. We measure the Earth, like Trouble said. We measure the size of our continents and our countries,
Yeah,
and we
but that's
show
not
that the
exclusive
ball.
to a ball. It could be exactly what the flat earthers are saying.
How does? Okay, she asked you about 10 minutes ago. How does it work? And you can't explain it. So I'm
What?
done. You can
How does
explain it
what
to
work?
her. How?
How does what work?
Why don't we have the accurate measurements of the sizes and shapes of the countries and continents on a flat Earth
Well, that
map
doesn't
that we
mean
do
that's
on
not
the
saying
globe?
it doesn't work. And because I don't know the exact size of
But
the
it works
countries
on a
and
globe.
continents, no, of course it does if it's reverse engineered.
What do you mean it's reverse engineered?
If it's a flat Earth, right, then you have to agree that the ball model was reverse engineered to make you think it's on a ball.
But when you
No,
reverse
I don't,
engineer
because
it
that
back
doesn't
into a
make any
flat Earth,
sense.
Australia gets stretched out of shape.
It's a
That would be
hypothetical. If it
easily
was flat,
recognisable
right?
if it was that
If
Well, then
shape
stop
compared to the
saying
one
reverse engineered if
in
that's not
Hobart.
what you mean. Say what you mean, because
let's
it
just
doesn't.
okay. Here's what I mean. Like, let's just say in a hypothetical world, the Earth is flat. How do you think it could possibly be that people think it's a ball?
Somehow
What would have to
they've
happen
been
for
duped.
people to believe it's a ball if it's actually flat? What are the steps that would
They'd
have to
have to
go
be
into that?
fooled and stopped from actually measuring it.
Right. True.
So,
True.
so,
So you're saying there's
so they're
actual
not.
measurements, not just assumptions about optics?
Yes.
Well, then you should just go put that out there and make a video like everyone would watch it because that hasn't happened yet.
No, that they are already out there, and they are have already been
No,
made.
that's just optical assumptions. There's nothing out there that's not an
LIGO,
optical assumption.
the
LIGO is a
LIGO as
total
built,
fucking. You can criticize LIGO all day long. I got
the
something
LIGO,
juicy on that just recently.
the LIGO
It's
as
all
built
about your
are
belief
assumptions.
in what they've given you.
Why don't you
They
let me
spent
finish,
money.
dude?
They spent money on LIGO. Well, that's part of what the process would be.
You're
If they're going
dishonest.
to
I'm
convince you it's a
talking
ball
already.
and it's actually flat, they got to spend money on things like LIGO and propaganda and all the things you're assuming they're telling us the truth about. That's all
Which
I'm saying.
interrupting piece of shit are you? So I can say your name.
Wait, what's your name? I'm trying to figure out your name now.
New
Who are you?
perspective. I'm Brad.
Is this Chucky?
New Holy fuck.
You don't even seem like Chucky.
Good.
It sounds like a totally different person than Chucky. I would have been giving you way more
Cool.
shit if I knew it was you.
Oh, cool. I'm scared. Okay, so why are
I'm
the
not trying to
as-built
scare
drums
you.
of
I'm
what?
just saying you don't have my respect already.
Oh,
And now you're
fuck's
calling me a
sake.
piece of shit? Fuck. I
Yeah,
might
you're
just
an
leave.
interrupting cunt. Stop it. What do the as... Oh, now you're gone. Bye. Sorry, Trouble.
No, he's gone. That means you win.
Yeah, you bitch.
We didn't even get to talk about airplanes landing.
Because he won't shut up.
This is why I
Once he
didn't want to
gets
go into
going.
this originally.
How does
You
a
see,
plane
Merle?
land on a sideways runway? Just does, mate.
Yeah. The stereo just keeps cranking with new perspective.
He'll realise soon that there's no hope, and
He's a
realise
sweetie, but yeah.
he'll come back to the glow.
Yeah, he cares about you. He genuinely does. It's like
He
you're
looks out